Knicks family, what's poppin'? Is your boy. We're 1 day away from the trade deadline, ladies and gentlemen. Just 1 day away from the trade deadline. Still don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if the Knicks are going to make a move or not make a move. But there's some interesting news out there that I think you might want to be aware of. So we're going to take a look at, talk about Eric Bledsoe. Could he end up in New York? Lonzo Ball? Or maybe even Dennis Schroder? We'll talk about it. Take a look at it, ladies and gentlemen. We got Andy, Steph, and Nate here with us. So we could go ahead and break this thing down and start to get into it. Before I bring those guys on, though, let's talk about what we heard from SNY TV this morning on Eric Bledsoe. We discussed Eric Bledsoe yesterday. Got some more information. Check this out. The New Orleans Pelicans and the New York Knicks, in the weeks leading up to the deadline, have spoken. Right? Because the Pelicans, they've spoke to several teams about a trade package that would send Eric Bledsoe and a first-round pick to a team with interest. The Knicks were among the teams New Orleans spoke with, sources say. It is unknown if those talks were connected in any way to Lonzo Ball. Of course, Lonzo Ball is a coveted commodity of many New York Knicks fans. With regard to Eric Bledsoe, New York has the cap space to take on his contract. The veteran guard is under contract for $18 million next season. And then he has a $3.9 million salary guarantee for 2022-2023. It could be $19.3 million for 2022-2023 if New York decided that they were going to keep him, or any other team decided that they were going to keep him, or they could pay him $3.9 million to move on. That's 2022-2023. So if the Knicks made that move for Eric Bledsoe, they'd have to pay him this year. They'd have to pay him $18.1 million next season, and then decide what they're going to do the following season. According to Ian Begley from SNY, or in his estimation, it doesn't seem like that's a contract New York would want to take on, but it could tie into a potential Lonzo Ball deal. According to Forbes' Mike Mazzio, the Knicks had been looking to trade Bledsoe to a third team in order to land Lonzo Ball. And SNY did confirm those reports. But I want to talk about Eric Bledsoe and whether or not you all think Eric Bledsoe would be an ideal fit for Tom Thibodeau. You know, would he be a significant upgrade at $18, $19 million per year if you're bringing on a first-round draft pick? All right, so let's talk about that a little bit. Andy, what's going on, man?
What up, bro? What up to the chat? What up to the panel? I'm happy I got to watch the game. I'm halfway past the post-game show, so I didn't finish it yet. But some interesting points in that post-game show, which we'll probably hit up a little bit later after these trade rumors.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely get into, talking some stuff about last night's game, and I know you got some things. I know you got some fire in you about some things that you want to talk about. So we're gonna get to it. All right, we're gonna get to it. But Eric Bledsoe, what do you think?
You know what? A couple of years back, I wouldn't even hesitate. This year's Eric Bledsoe, I didn't see many Pelicans games. But, is he going to be worth giving up the salary he gets compared to the production he's going to give us over an Elfrid Payton? We got to remember that Elfrid Payton is earning around $5 million, right? So... And, the production between those two guys, Bledsoe probably is going to have better numbers, but he's not going to have the chemistry with this team from day one. So we would have to work on that. Question is, if Thibs is going to like his kind of game style, it's really similar, if you ask me, to Elfrid Payton's game. If you're a coach and you see it, and this kind of Thibs system, I don't think he has that kind of advantages over Elfrid's game, right? So he's stronger. His body is built a little bit better. But is he that kind of an upgrade that you're willing to pay 10 million more? And what we also got to recognize that his contract is way longer, because it's for next season at almost 19 million. And for the season to the 22-23, it's almost 20 million unless we cut him before a certain date.
Right.
Which is, something that we probably wouldn't have to do, because if we're going to give up anything for him, like even Elfrid Payton, it would be kind of stupid to cut him, probably deal him at the end of the deadline of the next season or something. Well, for me, it's a hard, question. But that first round pick, though, you would have to consider it, right?
Yeah, that's the thing, that first round pick. And let me get right back to that for a second,
Changes
Andy.
everything.
I do want to make a correction in the report from SNY in regards to Eric Bledsoe, and the report from Forbes' Mike Mazzeo. I had stated that SNY confirmed the report. They have not confirmed the report. So they made the report. They're letting you know what Mike Mazzeo said, but SNY did not independently confirm that report. So I just want to clear that up before we go any further. And the report from Mike Mazzeo, again, is that the Knicks had been looking to trade Eric Bledsoe to a third team in order to land Lonzo Ball. SNY has not independently confirmed that report. So I just want to make that a little bit more clear than I did earlier, or make that correction. But I do agree with you. I'm not sure if Eric Bledsoe is that much of an upgrade. I don't think he's going to be an upgrade over Derrick Rose. Maybe he's an upgrade over Elfrid Payton. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. And that amount of money is probably, the first round pick, I'm going to say, is probably not worth it, because who even knows when that pick is going to be.
Yeah, and it would be an easier thing to swallow if it would be, the contract would be ending like Alfred's contract, which is this season, right? When it's going 2 years longer, and it's going to definitely cut into our salary cap space. So basically this move, again, ties up some money that we were probably thinking we can use, if not this off season, at least in another year, right? So we have the books cleared, and now we bring up a guy like Eric Bledsoe, which I don't think, is going to cut it for the Knicks fan base as that guy that we wanted to, coveted that salary cap money just to use it for Eric Bledsoe, right? And no disrespect for you, Mr. Bledsoe, but...
Yeah. Steph, what do you think?
I mean, he's an upgrade over Peyton because he can shoot. I think the question is, which Bledsoe are we getting? Are we getting a Bledsoe from a few years ago, or are we getting a Bledsoe now? I mean, one of the things to just keep in mind is that it's very hard to go off of what somebody is doing on a particular team, because so much of it is scheme, so much of it is how comfortable they are, how they're being used. So sometimes, a player can look like nothing, dead in the water on one team, and come to another team and you'd be like, wow, this is what we needed. So I would say it's hard to tell what he would be like for us. But the money is an issue for me, and tying up our salary cap when we can probably use that money on somebody that we know is better, is a known commodity. So I would pass in that respect. Now, if in order to get Lonzo, we have to take Bledsoe, and if that's why the Knicks are looking for somebody, that they can pass him on to, that's definitely something to consider. But just based on the contract, I'll say no. But don't underestimate. He may be a different person with us.
And right, that is true. He could be. I know when he went to Milwaukee, they thought that he was going to be that missing piece, right? That missing part, that toughness at the guard spot that they needed. And they found an upgrade in Drew Holiday, and we'll see how that's going to work out. I don't know where, to be honest with you, I don't see where he's going to be, where he would be moved if New Orleans is looking to move on from him. I can't see where he would be moved. I don't see how the Knicks would be able to help facilitate with what team you can move him to help facilitate that Lonzo Ball deal, if that's indeed what they're looking to do. I just don't know who out there would be willing to say, yeah, we'll take on his contract, or has the money to take on his contract. I don't know. So, he may end up staying right there, right, where he is. And that's about it, I guess. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, just to follow up the Steph's idea, if the trade would include Lonzo, that we would get him. Well, that would complicate stuff as well, because we would have to try to look for a trade partner to take Bledsoe. Is it in a three-way trade this trade deadline or in the offseason? Because if we keep Bledsoe and his salary his $19 million is gonna cut into our salary cap space, we can of course go over the salary cap space to re-sign Lonzo if we trade for him now. But that's going to basically eat up all of our caps. We're going to be like 12, 15 million bucks left. So, and we're going to be having too much guards. So we would have to make a move with our guards. And, if it's only to get Lonzo and trade him in the offseason, that will make more sense. But, I don't see us keeping both of those guys longer than after the offseason. That wouldn't make sense, because we would strap ourselves again for two guards that are going to eat up our salary cap, and we won't be able to get, even a free agent for, I don't know, 15, 12 million. So like fill up that gap that we're going to be missing.
Right. And I wouldn't even want to take the chance of
we're trying to find a partner, right?
Yeah, having to try to find a partner in the summer, right? I want that trade partner right now to get it done, because then if you can't find a partner, now you're just stuck with it,
right now.
Right now, because then you're stuck with it, and I don't want to be stuck with that kind of a contract. Well, I don't want to say that kind of a contract, not for him. I don't think he's worth that contract, in what we're trying to do moving forward. As for Lonzo Ball, Chicago is interested in Lonzo Ball. There are teams out there. The Clippers are interested in Lonzo Ball. There are teams really interested in Lonzo Ball, and it is beginning to seem like it could slip through the Knicks' hands if they are really interested in signing this guy. They had the assets to make the moves. I just, everything that we've read and have heard, they're not willing to part with major assets. And then, of course, inside the organization, there's discussions going on about whether or not he's the long-term point guard for the New York Knicks. So I think if they're having those type of conversations, some people say yeah, some people say no, they probably won't go with it, because at that point, I think when you're saying, yes, this is our long-term point guard, you probably want a consensus. You know what I mean? And they probably have had discussions about, okay, which guy would all of us say is a consensus long-term franchise point guard for us? And they have that guy's name or a couple of guys' names on a list. And maybe Lonzo Ball, isn't on that list of a consensus point guard. So we will see, because I think if they thought that he was the long-term guy, they would say, let's go get him now, because it benefits them to get him now rather than later.
Right.
Because they got to give up more
but
assets
he's not a
later.
franchise point guard.
Well, that's probably, the question that they're having within the Knicks front office and the discussions that they're having. And so, giving up major assets, if they're not sure, I think this is a front office that wants to try to be as sure as possible with the moves that they're making, which is clearly understandable. Another guy that's out there that could possibly be out there. Oh, and by the way, before I finish that, Lonzo Ball, according to Chris Mannix, Lonzo Ball is not in New Orleans' long-term plans. And like we all have expected and suspected, he's going to be moved somewhere before the deadline. But Chris Mannix is saying that it's definite he's going to be moved somewhere before the deadline.
Wow.
Where?
Crazy.
We don't know. I guess we'll find out in a couple of hours. Yeah, go ahead, Nate.
The only one that really makes sense is the Clippers. I mean, the Clippers desperately need a playmaking point guard. I mean, Beverly's not going to cut it.
They can't offer anything, Nate.
Right, I know, but I'm just saying, trapped. I mean, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, I mean, they could trade in the Ibaka or something like that if they really wanted to go out and get a point guard. They could trade some of their players, or Marcus Morris or whatever. But like that's the only team that makes sense. Everybody else doesn't make sense to get Ball. I mean, because they need a playmaker. They need somebody else to facilitate the offense other than Beverly. As far as with Ball, the only thing is, if we are going to get Ball and we get a first-round pick and we have to take Bledsoe, that's the only way I'm making the deal. Because, I mean, if we really want Ball, get him now, like you said, and figure out a contract later. Don't let him go into the free agent market, and then you have to pay him more than he's worth. If you really want to get him. I mean, personally, I think right now, like I said, I think we're going to stay pat, and we're just going to rock with what we have now. And then the off season, that's where they're going to look at trying to find a point guard, whether it's through free agency, trade, or draft. I'm thinking more of the draft. I'm thinking that they're going to try to make a move in the draft.
There's nobody in this draft that's going to help us.
Yeah.
I disagree with that.
Not on that level.
And not now. It's not on that level that we need.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know.
So you're saying
players.
Talented players. Yes, there are. But you're saying that there's a rookie
John Moran
point guard.
was in his first year. I mean,
Nate, you're falling out of the camera,
there's a lot
Nate.
of talented guys.
Hey, Nate, you're falling out of the camera. We can't see.
I mean, John Moran had a strong rookie year. I mean, to say that they're not going to make and help us.
He wouldn't be a point guard on a playoff contending team as a rookie. Look how he's struggling now.
I don't know if there's a point guard that is going to bring you what Tom Thibodeau wants and needs right now in the draft. That's going to say that Tom Thibodeau is going to entrust the team to. I think he wants a veteran point guard, which is the reason why quickly, he's got a chance to start, but he went out and got a Derrick Rose, right, so that he can have more veteran help at that point guard position. I'm not saying that there might not be a future point guard in the draft, but for next year, I don't know. I think they're looking to go get a veteran guy, or if Derrick Rose can get the job done with Derrick Rose and some other reinforcements. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, just last thing before we move on from Lonzo. Are we even worried about LaVar in this situation when we get Lonzo? Or we just safe because we feel that the organization can handle LaVar at this point?
I probably won't say nothing because we'll be happy.
You mean in terms of him? Right. You mean him being a distraction?
Yeah, because they're basically in a package, right? So I'm guessing he's not going to ditch his father because he's in New York, and the bigger stage is better for LaVar. So,
right.
Yeah, I don't
think he would be a distraction.
Yeah. I think that, we have strong enough leadership to be able to deal with LeVar.
I agree so too at this point, but because 2 years ago.
Right. Now, I agree with you there. 2 years ago, we probably wouldn't have had that same structure in place. Another guard that is possibly available is Dennis Schroder. Right? According to Jake Fisher, and this is regarding the Kyle Lowry and Lakers rumors, it seems that Los Angeles became open to discussing all of Dennis Schroder, Montrezl Harrell, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope with rival teams as of Monday night. That chatter has not since quieted among league executives. So it sounds like, they are willing to move on from Dennis Schroder. Now, Dennis Schroder makes $15.5 million this season, and I do believe it's his last season under that contract.
It's an expiring contract.
It's an expiring contract, right? So now that fits nicely into the New York Knicks little pot of money that they have there, right? Would you consider making a move for Dennis Schroder? And I'll start with you, Stephanie. Would you consider making a move for Dennis Schroder?
I mean, he would be an upgrade. I can't say that he's somebody that I like a lot, but he would be an upgrade over who we have. He's 27 years old. He could play defense. He could get to the hole. I don't know about his shot, though. I don't know how consistent he is as far as shooting is concerned. I could take it or leave it. I can talk myself into it if the Knicks traded for him.
Okay. Now, see what I'm thinking is, I think he would be an upgrade over Elfrid Payton without a doubt. Right? He can score a bunch of different ways, and I think he mans. He's definitely faster. He can man your offense, I think, a little bit better than Elfrid Payton can. He's been on playoff teams. It's on a playoff team now, and so is Elfrid Payton, but he's been on more playoff caliber teams. And also, the Lakers are looking to possibly make a move for Kyle Lowry. So now this is where the Knicks could the Knicks can help the Lakers by saying, listen, we'll take Dennis Schroder's $15 million, which opens up some cap room for you to make a move for Kyle Lowry. Now, in order for us to do that for you, you might have to give us a second round pick to go along with Dennis Schroder. So or maybe they also have to take Elfrid Payton, to make sure you have that roster spot available. They take Elfrid Payton, they can choose to waive Elfrid Payton or whatever, or maybe they take a smaller contract and you move, because at that point you're gonna have to move on from Elfrid Payton. You move Elfrid Payton in another deal elsewhere, right? But you can help to facilitate it, for the Lakers, and then the Lakers would have to find some other moves in other places. But that's a way that the Knicks can use that $15 million that'll benefit the team now, and it doesn't hurt them for next season because they don't want Dennis Schroder moving forward. You just say, okay, we'll let you go because he makes 15.5, because his contract expires. I know he makes 15.5. His contract expires. So I don't know. It could be something that benefits this team. What do you think, Andy?
Well, if I had to choose between Schroder and Bledsoe, I'd take Schroder because mostly, the skill set and the contract situation. But when you mentioned Dennis Schroder, I recall reading an article this week that he was expecting to resign long-term with the Lakers. And now his name popped up in trade rumors. Bro, the GM of the Lakers, which is LeBron James, bro, he's going to destroy the NBA someday. I'm telling you.
But are they only giving him up for Lowry though?
Well, Lowry makes
just
30
on the
million,
trading
so
block
they
for
would have
anybody?
to add someone to that pot if they want to, Lowry. Because they're over the salary cap, so they have to match basically like the 28 million because the 10% difference only. So 28 million, they got to match money, dollar to dollar. So, Dennis Schroder alone won't cut the deal.
Right. And so, yeah, I think because Schroder, is a free agent at the end of the season, they would rather, move him, maybe Montrezl Harrell, whoever else, to bring in a Kyle Lowry that is definitely going to be an upgrade. And I also think they're trying to make sure that they stay above water with LeBron James being down, Anthony Davis being down. Kyle Lowry may help them stay above water and not fall all the way down to that play-in tournament. Who knows? I don't know how long those guys are going to be out.
But the Lakers really don't have any assets to get Kyle Lowry. I mean, other than maybe Kuzma.
But that's why they would.
But they need Kuzma now because of the scoring.
But that's why they would try to move on from Dennis Schroder and Montrezl Harrell, or and these other guys, to try to make room for Kyle Lowry. Of course, though, like you said, other assets, Nate, have to come into play. So.
Yeah.
Because now Toronto's going to say,
not an idiot.
Yeah, Toronto's going to say, well, we want something in turn as well, right? We want a young player or something like that. But if there's a way that the Knicks can help facilitate that and bring in Dennis Schroder and maybe another asset, I'm all for it. I seen someone in the chat say, the Knicks would have to take back a first round pick.
I don't have any.
I'll say this. In this situation, I don't know if you have to demand a first round pick, because it's not like you are taking on a contract that's going to be, $15 million for the next year, for the next 2 years. It's $15 million for this season, right? And you're still clear the same way that you were going into the trade. So I think, something smaller could help. Not that you're trying to help the Lakers, but you're bringing in Dennis Schroder, who was a better player, who would hopefully help your team, in scoring. He can shoot the ball, but, he's a good penetrator, would hopefully help your team. I don't know. And also you get a chance to take a look at him. He's 27 years old, so he's not old, right? He's on the same timeline as Julius Randle. You might look at him and say, hey, maybe he is a guy that can, be here for a little while. So who knows? Now, he's not that much of a better shooter than Elfrid Payton. I thought maybe he was. But this year so far, he's not. He's shooting 31.7% from the three-point line, which is still an upgrade from Elfrid Payton, who's shooting like 22 or 23% from the three-point line, right? And he averages 4.7 assists. Who knows how that could go? But that's an interesting one to see out there. That's a thought. I also wanted to talk about, before we move on, is this whole thing with the Pacers, because I was just watching Adrian Wojnarowski, and they're talking about the Pacers and looking at a potential deal with Domantas Sabonis moving on and going to the Washington Wizards, and how a deal would work out there. Malcolm Brogdon being
I want Brogdon, man. Let's go after him.
Right? Yeah, I would definitely go after Brogdon.
Heck
but
yeah.
What is happening with the Pacers? Why all of a sudden?
Exactly.
I can't get it. Is there something going on within the organization? Or do they feel like, what? Brogdon is, 28 years old? Domantas Sabonis is, he's a little bit older. Do they feel like even when these guys, even if it's the next 2 or 3 years, when you got the Bucks and the Nets and the 76ers here, they're still not going to compete. So they're like, hey, we might as well break it down now, get some assets for these guys, and start to rebuild so that when those teams fizzle out, we'll be right there? Is that the thinking? I don't get it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ever since Paul George got traded, it's just kind of gone downhill.
Yeah, I mean, it has. It has. It's kind of, gone downhill a little bit, but they still have been a good basketball team.
Right.
But they're not elite.
I mean, only thing I could think,
like
maybe the salary. They're a mid-market team. Maybe their salary concerns. I mean, but they signed them to those contracts, though.
Right.
They don't have a star player. I mean, Sabonis is good, but he's not a star player. Like, he's probably the second or third best player on a good team. I don't think he's, a guy you want to build your team around. And I think that's why they're looking to trade him, because Sabonis.
I mean, but he's now, okay.
They trying to trade Sabonis?
It sounds, I mean, teams are paying attention to what's going on with Domantas Sabonis. Like I was saying, I was watching Adrian Wojnarowski, and he was coming up with a deal between, he was, kind of coming up with a scenario where Domantas Sabonis would go to the Washington Wizards. Right now, Domantas Sabonis he's on a long contract till 2024, but he doesn't make over he makes 19.8 this season, 18.5 next season, 18.5 the season after that, and then 19.4 in 2023, 2024. That's not bad for an all-star. You got Miles Turner, who makes $18 million until 2023. Malcolm Brogdon, who makes around $22 million until 2023. I mean, they're not. Karis LeVert makes $17.5 million. TJ Warren, Karis LeVert makes $16.2 this year. He makes $17.5 next year. TJ Warren, he makes $12 million. He makes $12.9 next year. They actually seem to have some decent contracts and to be in an okay cap situation with the production that they get from the players that they have. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand why they might be looking to do this. But
I'll take Brogdon or Turner, though, if you really want to get rid of him.
I sure would.
Or even Karis, man. I'll take Karis. I think those dudes.
Well, I think one of the reasons why Malcolm Brogdon is possibly on the I don't want to say on the trading block, but people are inquiring and they're listening. It's because they believe Karis LeVert can do the job.
Brogdon
so they
can play, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'd love to take Brogdon. I've always wanted Brogdon.
Brogdon can play.
Yeah.
So it's a mystery to me. I guess we'll find out more. And then, of course, we need to watch that buyout market. I think the buyout market may be just as intriguing as the trade deadline, if not more, with Andre Drummond, of course, and everyone, it seems to look like he's going to be signing with the Los Angeles Lakers. I still believe that if he is when he's bought out, the Knicks are going to inquire, which I think they should. I do think they will inquire at least just to see. And then LaMarcus Aldridge. The San Antonio Spurs may not find a trade partner, so they may be looking to buy out LaMarcus Aldridge. I wonder if they would look to buy out DeMar DeRozan as well. So those guys could be on the buyout market. Houston seems to think that they can still make a move or find a trade partner for Victor Oladipo, although they're looking for a first-round draft pick. I don't know if people want to give up a first-round for him right now. I know the Knicks don't. And a lot of teams may be afraid to make a move for Oladipo because they believe that Victor Oladipo in Miami, they got a kind of a courtship going on. So a lot of teams, may just say, he's probably not going to re-sign anyway. He's probably going to go to Miami, so I'm not even going to mess around with it. If that happens, he could be bought out. Now, if he's bought out, then he's probably definitely just going to go ahead and sign to Miami right away. You know, I tend to think that a trade partner, somebody you would think somebody is going to say, let me take a chance, but I don't know. If he is bought out, Andy, would you then say, okay, you know what, we'll throw him a couple dollars this year for a rental, Victor Oladipo?
You know, if it would be the Oladipo before the injuries, it would be a no-brainer. This year's Victor Oladipo, he might help in situations where RJ or Julius would be off the court. He might be that third guy that could, be the playmaker on the team that could take that big shot in the end of the game and stuff. But if I would trade my future assets in a first round pick, probably no. And just for the factors like you said, because he's probably gonna bounce for Miami and pick his own route. And I think he really fell off of his game because of the injuries. And that's a factor that he probably can't fix like overnight, right? So
you would make a move for a buyout, but not.
Yeah, for a buyout, I because if I'm going to just split the money around the guys that I have on the roster, then I'd rather get a piece that might help us, right? And I feel that the squad would be good with that because they would think that we are trying to win now and not just split up the money and play out the season. Right. So I'm guessing the whole roster would be good with that. But then again, I think if the word is out and Victor already, told his agent and the agent spread the word that he's still going to Miami in the off season, then, I think nobody's going to touch that contract. And then definitely not for a first round pick.
Right. Okay.
Maybe a desperate team like the Wolves, because, the Rockets lost 20 in a row and the Wolves are still lower than them. maybe they would bite on that kind of a deal. But
that's bad. That is bad. Yeah, the Rockets lost 20 in a row and you're still worse. That's bad. Yeah. Steph, if somehow, some way Victor Oladipo gets to the buyout market, do you take a chance?
Yes. It's not even a chance. I would take him on the buyout market. I would even give a second round pick for a rental. Obviously, I wouldn't want to give a first round pick if I didn't think he was going to re-sign with us. When you could just sign him in the off season. But for a second round pick, I would basically buying low with the hope that he could return to form. And then if he doesn't, it was just a second round. Pick. He's inefficient this year. He hasn't always been so. He's a very good defensive player. He can get into the lane. He looks for shooters. He's averaging about 5 assists a game on this bum team that he's on right now. He's still averaging 5 assists. So he's a willing passer. Again, he's not the player he used to be, no doubt about it. And if he wants 20, 25 million and a new contract, negative. I'm not doing that. Either, unless it's like a 1-and-1 with a player with a team option or 2-and-1 and a team option. I'm not giving him that much money. But on the buyout market, not a doubt. And for a second round pick, even as a rental, I would do it.
Yeah. On a buyout market, I think the only reservation the Knicks might have is, does he come in and disrupt? Not that he's going to do anything negative, right? Not saying he's going to do anything negative, but I think their reservation would be, does he come into the chemistry that we have built here? Does he disrupt that chemistry? As we've heard, the Knicks have concerns over that. We'll see what happens. We have less than 24 hours before this trade deadline is up. So we don't know, obviously teams negotiate to the last minute or last second or whatever it is to to get the best deal possible. So we'll be watching that Victor Oladipo. I don't think the Knicks have that much interest in trading for him. I think it's, they would look at him, though, if he reached the buyout market. I do believe if he reaches the buyout market, then he'd be heading straight to Miami on the first thing smoking. So we will see how that plays out. Last thing before we talk about, just kind of reflect on last night's game. What is Boston going to do? Boston needs to make a move to do something because they're struggling.
Scared money don't make no money. This has been going on for about 3 years now with Danny Ainge.
And they've been able to get by because they continue to have a good record, right, and play well. But now other teams are catching up to Boston. Boston's 21-22 so far in the season. They're in the 8th seed, half a game behind the Knicks. What are they going to do?
What do they really need?
I think they need some wing defenders.
They got Jaylen Brown.
They might need more.
I think they need interior. They need
interior. They need some interior play. So they could be looking on that buyout market as well for the LaMarcus Aldridge and
Drummond would make a lot of sense for them.
Andre Drummond would make a lot of sense for them. Yeah. But they've got to do something.
They need a Brogdon Lowry on that team.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, Brogdon or Lowry on that team. Kemba Walker just not it. He's not it. They don't need that type of point guard on that team.
Yeah.
Right. They need that strong veteran guy that can command the team. They've got to do something. Andy, what do you think? Are they going to be players? What do you think?
Well, I think they're going to be players because, like everyone says, I think Danny Ainge he's slipping last couple of years. So he has to make a move just to probably save his job, maybe even. Because if they're not going to make moves, they're not going to get better just for something, for like nothing, right? So the rumors, what I heard at least, is that they're looking to trade for Aaron Gordon, but they are reluctant to move Marcus Smart, which is a smart thing to do. You got to keep a guy like Marcus Smart for, a returning asset and an Aaron Gordon. Then again, I also heard that the core in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart aren't happy with Tristan Thompson. There's some scuffle in the locker room with Tristan, so they were thinking that he might come in and be that savior under the basket, but doesn't work out like that. To be true, I saw so many good years from Boston. I kind of hate them so much that I wouldn't reach out a hand to help him in any way. So basically, I don't care what they do as long as they're below the Knicks.
You wouldn't want to get smart, Andy?
Right.
So I'd take, Jaylen Brown from him or Marcus Smart. That's sure, right?
Yeah.
I'm not helping them in any 3-team deal just to swallow, salary, whatever. No. Let them sink slowly. I don't care about them.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Especially
if Marcus Smart is available, I would go after him. I like Marcus Smart.
Okay. He brings that toughness. If you went after Marcus Smart, he's a tough defender, veteran guy who's been in the league for a little while, who's been to the Eastern Conference Finals a few times.
Tibbs would love him, man. He would fall in love with him.
Tibbs, he probably would. Let me get to a phone call here. Caller, you live. What's poppin'?
Hey, what's up, man? One, I want to give you your flowers, you, CK, all them good guys, that's really putting up Knicks up there. We fans of the basketball, b-ball hooping, and I just want to say that first and foremost.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. So now let me get into it, man. This is the thing that I get upset about Knicks fans, and I'm a Knicks fan, by injection. I took up the mantle after my father-in-law passed away. All right? So this is the thing I get mad about Knicks fans. It's like, Like, look at Golden State Warriors, what they did. Like, they grew those players that they had. They had some years that they lost. Like, Mark Jackson had them losing like 3 years in a row. They had bad records. This is like kind of year one for us with this coach, year one. And we already trying to ship out players. If we get Victor Oladipo, he's going to take minutes away from R.J. Barrett. We don't even know right now what R.J. Barrett is. Is he a tweener? Is he a 2? Is he a 3? We don't even know what position he's putting on right now because he's not strong enough really for the 3, but he's not fast enough for the 2. We're not playing Kevin Knox, which who knows why. Maybe his defense just sucks or whatever, and Tibbs is like, no go. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of little things that we are overlooking, and we always ready to just ship out the players instead of really developing and like moving on to some type of consistency with our team. I'm liking what we got here. You know, I'm wishing that people like Frank Ntilikina could get a little bit more play. And if not, then ship him out for Lonzo, because I think Lonzo will be a perfect fit for us. A pass-first player. He's going to push the tempo. His shot is improving. He worked good with those dudes that churched up Mitchell. What's that boy name? The boy from the Utah Jazz and stuff like that. He's going to be good if he comes here. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to, like, give away our future again, pulling another Carmelo or whatever just for, you know what I mean, mediocrity or a 7th, 6th round exit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I mean, not, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you know what I mean? The seeds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just kind of get annoyed at that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I want us to have consistent, really, like, the top 4 for like a good, 5 years out of a decade, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like we're moving there with Tom Thibodeau being all hard as he is and stuff like that. You know, he got Mitchell Robinson, he got him in line. Remember, he was acting up early on. He got Mitchell Robinson in line. He started playing right. You know what I'm saying? Derrick Rose was a great pickup as far as veteran play. But, you know what I mean, we still got to go ahead and nurture those young dudes. You know what I'm saying? Get the Lonzo so he can go ahead and church up Obi Toppin, because clearly what we got going on with Peyton, which I can't stand Peyton, but with Peyton and stuff, it ain't working for him. You know what I'm saying? And we need to nurture our young guys. So in like 2 or 3 years after the freaking bought out Nets, the Nets that just bought the whole team, after they go ahead and dispel, you know what I mean? We could go ahead and start winning and consistently winning. That's all I wanted to say about that, man. And, you know what I mean? God bless to you all. And I continue to listen to you guys. And
appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, appreciate you. And, I do think that the Knicks are everything that you said, though. I think that the Knicks are keeping this in mind as far as, with the front office. That's, the whole report that came out about them not wanting to break up the chemistry that they have, plays into, having these guys develop. But then, of course, also, making sure that they're adding in the right pieces so that they, bring in someone who has the right mindset, the same approach to playing basketball, the same approach to a level of detail, things like that. So I do think that they are planning with the future in mind. Obviously, at some point, some of these guys are going to be moved for either their contracts.
Yeah, we got a lot of them at the point guard position right now. Right. Still, even after Gandy SJ, we still
right. Right. So either, the contracts are going to expire, or they're going to have the opportunity to bring in another or a better player, and it's going to happen, and still they're going to have to be delicate in making sure that they don't, disrupt any chemistry. But at some point, chemistry can only get you so far. I think Steph alluded to that the other day. Chemistry can only get you so far. Sooner or later, you got to make sure you got top-level talent, But, hey, I appreciate the time, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate the time.
Can I say one thing, Sim?
Yeah.
The Knicks are going to have to decide, and I think the decision was made already. Quickly, Mitch, Obi, there's one other person, not RJ. They about 2, 3, 4 years away from being players you can count on game in and game out, right? So the Knicks have to make a decision. This is our young core. We're going to hold tight, and we're going to wait for that 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is, like Boston did with Jalen Rose and Tatum. We're going to wait till they get, till they mature some, and then we're going to add around them. And if you're going to do that, and you waiting for them, get rid of Randall, because it's just a waste of time. By the time they become players you can count on, you're wasting Randall's time. Or you're going to build around Randall, who's entering his prime right now, right? And you're going to bring guys in his same age range that you can build around. Now, that does not mean you have to get rid of all your young people. You look at all of these teams around the league. They have their core, they have veterans, and then they have 1 or 2 young people that they are developing or that are contributing. But they're not counting on 1 and 2 year players. So the Knicks are going to have to make a decision. I think when they hired Tibbs, 64 years old, that they made the decision that they're not going to hire a coach that old to wait for quickly and all of them to develop. The other thing that accelerated our timeline is Randall's play. Nobody was expecting him to pop like he did. And now that he has, I think the Knicks are going to try to take advantage of it. That's the same thing happened with Embiid and Simmons. They thought it would take another year or 2 for them to get it together. It happened fairly quickly. Elton Brand moved quickly to try to put people around them. And they haven't won a championship, but they've been 1, 2, 3, 4 since that time. So we're going to have to make a decision. And in my opinion, I think the decision has already been made by the Knicks organization, but, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't try to build around, excuse me, and with Randall, then you might as well move him, right? Yeah. You might as well move him. If you make that decision to say we're gonna wait for quickly in these guys, RJ Barrett is one of the young guys too, but obviously RJ Barrett can give you great production consistently, so he can help Randall. But if you're waiting for these guys to become consistent night in and night out without adding more, then you might as well move Randall because by the time they get there, then Randall's not going to be the Randall that we have now, or, as long as they're going to keep him the next few years. And I'm not saying that Randall has to be the franchise. You still might end up getting a player that's better than Randall, but still, you don't want to waste what you have in Randall. He may be an all-star for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years. He may be an all-star for the next 10 years. Who knows? But if you have him for the next 3 years and he's an all-star, you don't want to waste those all-star moments. Right? And if you're going to, then you might as well just move on. If you're going to wait for the young guys before you try to really compete, then you might as well move on from Randall.
But at some point, like with our young players, young teams don't win you championships. I mean, that's a proven fact. Veterans win you championships. Yeah, you can have young players in your team, but veterans are what win you championships. And the Knicks are in a quandary because they have some good young talent, but the reality is that talent going to be good enough to take us to the next level. RJ's the only one I really believe in because I've seen improvement. Quickly's only a rookie. I can't really, see until next year. Mitch, I'm ready to trade Mitch. I mean, I think we can get something for Mitch. Plus I think he's going to demand a lot of money when his contract's up. I think if you're the Knicks, I mean, you do have Randall who's played really well. If the right person's out there that you want, you got to go get him. If it's a good fit, then you got to trade what you got to trade, to get to the next level. I personally don't want to see the Knicks struggle for the next, 4 or 5 years. I really don't. I mean, right now I still think we're mediocre because our record's mediocre. So, yeah. I mean, I want to see us win. I want to see us in the playoffs. I want to see us, getting home court, competing for a chance at winning a chip. So like I said, it's a tough situation because we do have young, talented players, but we have an older coach, and we're still not the contenders yet. We still need some more pieces.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. And none of them guys are guaranteed to pop like Randall did. How many players in their first year looked great, like DSJ, and then didn't develop past that, right? So Quigley looks good now. Looks like he will develop. And I would put my money on him because he's a gym rat. But you never know whether these guys are going to develop into what we think they will.
Right. Let me get to a caller. Caller, you live. What's poppin'?
Hey, what's going on, Tim? It's the favorite.
What's going on, man? I don't know about favorite, but what's going on?
It's all right. I'm the most popular person.
I struggled with picking up the phone. I thought like 3 or 4 times. Should I pick it up? Should I just let him? I said, forget it. I'll pick it up.
Oh, man. First and foremost, shout out to everybody. And then, Sim, there's a crime right now. There's only less than 150 likes, and we got over 600 people in here. So can we get them likes up, people?
Yeah, let's do that.
Can we get them likes? Can we get them likes at least 300 in the next few minutes?
Let's get it up there. Let's do that.
Come on now. We got 600 people in here. But I hear echo. Is that me?
I don't know. I don't hear an echo, but go ahead.
Oh. Anyways, yeah, man. So what are we talking about? About the trade deadline, about players?
You didn't call in with anything to say?
I did, man.
Did you call in with something to say what you called to say?
Well, all right, my man. No, so listen, I've been adamant about how the Knicks should be. I believe this year we should just, run the course. I mean, we're gonna do small, minor moves. We should definitely do that. But if not, we shouldn't do any big move because I feel like we can tackle a lot of things that we need in the off season. So I'm big on getting Lonzo in the off season. I'm gonna say we're gonna offer him a 4-year, $75 million contract. I think that's going to be enough to get Lonzo here. And then we start working on the draft. I think we can get some 3-and-D wings. And then I'm going to say it. I think we should take a shot at Kawhi. I'm going to say it. We're going to take a shot at Kawhi.
Okay. I mean, yeah. Here's my thing about Lonzo in the offseason. I don't think it's going to be that easy where you just, hey, here's 4 years, $80 million, and that's it. I think there's going to be more competition that may offer him more money. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be tougher. I think it's tougher in the offseason to sign Lonzo Ball. If that's the guy that the Knicks want. I think it's tougher in the offseason to sign him. That's just my opinion.
Well, here's my thing, though, with that, Sim. I think our biggest competition is the Chicago Bulls. I think that's our biggest competition. And it's a real competition because I feel like they have a good point. If they need a point guard, they'll be in the next level. But I do believe that there's mutual interest with Lonzo and, LeVar and the Knicks. And I think both sides want to be with each other. So I do think we have a really strong chance. And if we offer him that contract, I think he's going to take it.
He's restricted, though.
He is restricted. And the Pelicans can match so that they could try to execute a sign and trade. Obviously, that would be the smart thing for them to do. I don't know. Come the off season, although right now Chicago it might be, they're big suitors for Lonzo Ball. Come the off season, there's going to be more suitors. So I don't know if it's just going to be straight up the Knicks. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm just saying I think there's going to be a lot more competition for Lonzo Ball in the off season. And then, as I've said time and time again, I believe that the Pelicans, knowing that, he's not going to be part of the future and that other teams are going to offer a contract, they may make him restricted just so that they can match, just so that they can do a sign and trade so they can bring back assets. So for a team that wants to trade for Lonzo Ball, I believe you probably give up less assets doing it now than doing it later.
And you know what, Sam? I just read in the comments. I don't know if this is true or not. Someone said Kawhi bought a $17 million house in California. So I think that's dope. I don't know if that's true or not, but
He bought it where? You say he bought it where?
In California. That's what I said, California.
I mean, he plays in California. He's gonna buy a house in California. He grew up there.
I know, but I don't think if he paid $17 million for a house, he gonna go all the way to New York.
Bro, listen, even if he paid $17 million for it, so what? He can still go play in New York because he's going to go back and live in L.A. when he's done.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, it's a lot of people that have, some people got a lake house, and then they got an apartment in the city, and then they got a house in the suburbs, stuff like that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But I'm about to go, man. Appreciate you. Let's get that dub tomorrow.
All right, man.
And let's get them likes up, man, because we still need 300 likes, man. We got almost 700 people in here. Let's get them likes up, people.
Hey, I appreciate your call, man. Don't eat too much Mission Barbecue. Don't eat too much of it, Jay. Ladies and gentlemen, please do me a favor. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel right now. Ring that notification bell for me so you'll be notified anytime I go live. All right? Subscribe. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Keep you updated on the New York Knicks. Get to one more phone call, then we're going to reflect on last night's game, then let you guys get out of here. Caller, you're live. What's popping?
Yo, Black, it's time.
T. Crow, what's going on with you, brother? How you feeling?
Andy, what's going on? Peace, Queen.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, man.
Peace.
Andre Drummond, man. I'm telling you, that's what we need.
I think he's on his way to Los Angeles, man. I think he's on his way to L.A.
I don't know. I think we're still a viable option. The Lakers are a threat. But LeBron's injury is questionable right now. AD's injury is also questionable right now. And if you're talking long-term money, I don't know that they have the money to pay him significantly enough to keep him long-term. So the fact that we could bring him in on a buyout and sign him longer than this season for a good amount of money, I think that puts us at an option. The fact that he's from Mount Vernon, I think that puts us at an option.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we're actually playing well and are in playoff contention puts him as an option, as well as some other buyout candidates. I think people will be looking at the Knicks.
I agree. I do think people will be looking at the Knicks. But do you think that with LA may be part of their plan, because they're also trying to make a move for Kyle Lowry, right? So they're trying to shed off some of the contracts that they signed during the offseason, bring in Kyle Lowry, and then I'm assuming bring in Andre Drummond from the buyout market. So now you got Kyle Lowry and you got Andre Drummond to hold water for you until LeBron and AD get back. And then, of course, when LeBron and AD get back, you move on, you move on into the playoffs.
I mean, it's possible. Let me say this. They have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
They 100% have to do something. They're going to lose some games right now without making a move. I forgot who broke it down, but they was talking about how that injury changes the whole Western Conference, because now with the Lakers potentially dropping, the number 1 seed, the number 2 seed, the number 3 seed, number 4 seed even, aren't going to want to play the Lakers in the first round. So depending on where they slide to,
right,
that's going to be very interesting as well. But Larry does wonders for him. I agree. I don't know, man. I think if I'm a free agent, the Lakers are not as intriguing as they were a month ago.
That's true. That's true.
You know
That's
what I mean?
true. But some of those, some of those free agents are going to be looking. They're also going to be looking down the line, knowing that AD and LeBron are going to come back.
I mean, it's a risk, and they could take the risk. I can see more likely these guys going there and saying, all right, let me try to win a ring this year and still go into free agency.
Oh, yeah.
I could see them both doing that.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
If they're looking for long-term stability, that puts us as an option.
Okay. At least in free
it's
agency.
Kind of like a free agency where they could weigh their options. They don't got to just, make a decision. All right, I'm going here. They could talk to numerous teams and find out, what the plan is and what the landscape is in the future. So I think we're in a good spot. One thing I did want to comment about something the Queen said about waiting for the young guys. I don't think, let's say whatever young guys we end up keeping, I don't think it's about necessarily waiting for them. It's really about taking what they can produce now. You know what I mean? Living with their production now and banking on, hey, they're only going to get better. So I don't think it's a matter of, just waiting for them and it's going to take 3 years. So some of these guys you can live with what they're doing now and their role. Mitch being one of them, and I've been saying that for 2 years now. He's adequate enough for what he does at an elite level that I wouldn't rush his growth necessarily. I'll take it as it comes. I think the same thing can be said about Quickly as well. And obviously, RJ, man, he's showing improvement. He's getting better right in front of our eyes.
Right. But then I think knowing that those guys, I think what she was saying is, and she could speak for, I don't want to speak for, but what I took is those guys can't do it consistently night in and night out, and to compete at a high level, you got to have some guys that can do it every single night that you count on, that's going to give you that production every single night, in order to compete at a contender level.
I mean, I hear you.
And if you're gonna wait for them, then get rid of Randall.
And yeah, I do want to hear what Stephanie says. But my only thing is, we still debate and argue about the consistency of a Burks and a Bullock, and you know what I mean. And these guys are straight vets. It's very rare that you just get a guy that. I mean, unless we're talking about those elite, those.
Yeah, I think.
Tier,
yeah, I think that's
level or better.
I think that's what we're talking about.
We're gonna have to give
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the Burks and the Bullocks and them guys.
No.
Yeah, but go ahead.
So we're on the
Steph.
same page, Yeah, I said I think we're on the same page. I'm talking about somebody that is on Randall's level or even better. As our core. Or even better as our core. And if we keep any of those young guys, that's fine. We're just not counting on them game in and game out because it's going to take them some time to get to that point. Yeah, and I just think, to me, RJ can swing either way. If you choose to go young, he can, his age would put them in that bracket. If you choose to build around Randall, his game is approaching that point where you may be able to count on him in a year or two. But I just think there's a gap right now between Randall and the rest of the team. RJ's in the middle.
Yeah. Hey, Tone, I'm gonna let you go.
Just a quick question though.
All right.
If we don't make a move at all, what do you guys think our ceiling is? And I'm including the playoff run. So how good do you think we could be without making a move, and let's say everybody at their best? And I'm going to hang up and I'll listen to you guys' response.
All right.
Bill Black, it's time. Shout out to the chat. Still keep doing your thing.
Appreciate you. That's a good question. I think it's hard to say. It's hard to say where we could be because we haven't been able to see this team full strength yet. Right, where everyone is there and we get a stretch of 15 games where everybody is there healthy and the guys can really come together. We haven't been able to see that yet. I still think, even with, let's put it like this, I think right now, with the injuries that we've had, we've been able to be at 500, a game below 500. I think if everyone is there and healthy, I think we can go a game or two above 500 and finish out a game or two above 500. But the schedule does get tough. Right. And when we look at that last couple weeks in May, I mean, that's a killer schedule, that can really make or break this season. And I think with this team here, it's all going to depend on where you fall in the playoffs, really. When you look at, everybody's so bunched up. You could be a 500 team and end up being in the 10th spot, and a 500 team could also end up being in the 5th spot. You know what I'm saying? Because the way everyone is bunched up. If we end up in that 5th spot, there's a chance that maybe we could get out the first round if we're in the 5th spot. If we're in the 6th, 7th, or 8th, I don't think we beat Milwaukee, Philadelphia, or Brooklyn.
Right. Hey, Sam, can I say something?
Yeah.
So I was on the Bleacher and I saw 2 articles. One article by Mark Berman that says the Knicks are looking at Norman Powell from the Raptors.
Right.
And then the other one is that this other guy wrote an article that said that some people in the Knicks organization deem Drummond not a fit for the Knicks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's with Andre Drummond, there's a lot of, just questions about how Andre Drummond
But the Norman Powell's one interesting. I like Norman Powell.
Yeah, I mean, I like Norman Powell. My question is, if you who are you going to move to bring him in? And I think, defensively, he does what Tom Thibodeau wants. Offensively, he can shoot the basketball, so he probably fits what you want. He's coming from a place that plays a lot of defense, and they have an attention to detail and stuff like that. So he should fit right in and fit right into the culture that they have. So we'll see. I know the Knicks are definitely watching out for Norman Powell. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk for a couple minutes about last night's game. Just a reflection on last night's game. Tomorrow I will be on about I don't know, probably about 2:00 to try to follow up with everything that's going on from the trade deadline. So be on the lookout for that as we finish off the trade deadline. All right, so be on the lookout for that. Subscribe to the channel right now so that you can be notified anytime that I go live. But now let's get into doing a little bit of a reflection on last night's game versus the Washington Wizards, right? Because we blew the Wizards out last night. And it's a good game. It was a good game. I feel like we did last night what we were supposed to do and what we needed to do. After coming off of so many tough games in a row, right? We had all of these tough games, four tough games in a row where we came down to the wire. We only pulled out one of them versus Orlando. Of course, we played the Nets and we played Philadelphia twice. And then they come out and blow out the Washington Wizards. Had to feel good for the team and give the team some confirmation that, you know what, maybe we are just right there. And if we do the little things, which they've been preaching to themselves all season long, but if we also give just a little bit more extra effort, if they can give any more, just that little bit, tad bit extra effort to get the loose ball, to make that extra defensive rotation, they can do those little things, then maybe they can get over the hump and beating some of these better teams when it's time to do it. So last night, I think, was just a confirmation for the team to help them boost their confirmation to help them boost their confidence. You know, good game last night. But Andy, I know you got some thoughts on the game.
Yes, and maybe it's not exactly on the game because you guys probably clicked on every thing in the post game. So I'm not gonna try to repeat the whole show. But I noticed one thing that bothered me that I would do on a next day shoot around thing as a topic, and as a topic between the players probably. Maybe this is only me as a guy that played basketball in Europe, and maybe there's something not like a code or for player code, teammate code, whatever. But in a situation like last night's game, basically a blowout, and Tibbs brings guys off the bench. And between those guys, there's a player that gets major minutes every game, gets the opportunity to score buckets and take shots on a daily basis, basically. And I'm not saying the name yet, but I bet you guys know who I'm talking about. And, it's like 1 minute and 26 seconds left. We got 3 possessions. And the guy still is taking shots instead of passing up the ball to a guy that's looking off the bench the last 10 games and letting them take that one last shot. That's something you don't do in Europe. I don't know, maybe in the States you don't guys care about that. But if I'm a good teammate, I'm trying to pass up the ball so my teammate that doesn't, have that opportunity as I have each and every game, just to make him happy, just to let him take that shot. And I was talking about Emmanuel quickly. He took 3 shots and he might have made them. I'm not, nagging that. But bro, if you're in every game, you take that many amount of shots. Let Kevin Knox take that shot. Like Jared, Harper take that shot. Justin Harper, whatever his name is. Kevin Knox, Frank Ntilikina, just get a foul and get Theo Pinson on the court. No, just do it for the team. You don't have to be taking shots like a minute under, when the game is, already settled. That was, and I'm not saying that was a really, really bad move, but you could have some feelings for the guys that are running in practice every day, just like you, just don't have the opportunity. That really, bothered me at least. So, I don't know if you guys even noticed it, but that really, bothered me.
I noticed it.
Yeah, that really bothered me.
And part of it, because I did notice it. I noticed it. How much of it do you think, though, is, one, just him being 21 years old and not understanding, how do I want to say it? If you have a veteran that's out there at that time, that veteran understands.
He's probably going to do it, right? Yeah. I get that. I get that. That, right. He's really a rookie and he probably, didn't see it. But I don't know, just it really bothered me that much because it's not like he's taking 2-3 shots a game. He has games when he literally took 15 shots a game. And those guys are running in every practice. And bro, he took in 1 minute and 26 seconds left to the game, and he's still looking for his shot. And I was mad at Frank because Frank passed for one of those shots. And I was like, bro, screw him. Just take the shot. I don't care if you miss the backboard even. I was that mad at Frank.
But Andy, you shouldn't be surprised by quickly. That's just how his game is.
Yeah, but I'm pointing it out on a daily basis. But then again, it's and you guys saw Theo Pinson. He was like tidying up those shorts, and he didn't even. That broke my heart. Theo Pinson didn't get to lick the court when Emmanuel quickly could just foul a guy, and it seemed like Mitchell Robinson tried to foul so he can get the sub in.
Right. But with someone like Quickly, new to the league, he probably doesn't understand and not just, situation, time and situation, but understand, these guys are playing for their basketball careers. These guys are playing, Theo Pinsons and Jared Harper's. I got a multi-year contract. Let me see if I can find a way to get these guys a chance. I don't know if he thinks that way yet. Well,
that's why I said that this is a topic for the shoot around the next day. They got to come in, I don't know, put toothpaste in his shoes. When he's going to ask why, then you got to know why. What to tell him, bro.
Right. I was still upset. With Quickly for not driving to the basket. I know that he, got the crossover on the dude and everything, but he had the wide open lane. I wanted him to go to the basket on that one. It is what it is. I want to talk about Obi, though, right? Because with Obi, it's getting... listen, I've been saying that for a very long time. I've been saying that for about 3 weeks now, Nate. I've been saying,
So you want to hear my theory on why Obi's still playing?
Yeah, I want to hear your theory.
Okay. So he had no off season, he had no summer league, and Tibbs understands that. And so Tibbs, even with the minutes that he gives Obi, whether it's 5 or 6 or 10 minutes, he's kind of like using those minutes as trying to give him as much real time play as possible, because he understands that he was kind of limited due to no summer league, due to no really off season, due to no training camp and all that. So that's just Tibbs kind of giving him the NBA experience in like short versions. I really think that's what he's doing, and he was a first round pick. I mean, we got to call it what it is. I mean, I don't think he's going to sit a first round pick all year. So.
I mean, he wouldn't have been sitting him all year. He's had plenty of chances.
Right.
I feel like the more you keep putting him out there on the floor when he's not doing what you're asking, and I know he's pulling them out during games, but sooner or later, to me, it becomes that you're compounding the situation. You've got to say, okay, you know what? I got to sit the guy, and maybe he'll understand then. Right? In order for a player to develop, you need that tough love, I think. Right? You need that type of discipline, and you need for your coach to say, I can't play you, and here's why. And then, of course, he's got to work with him on whatever those whatever it is that he's asking Obi to do. He's got to work with him and figure out a way for him to do those things while he's on the floor. But in the meantime, I think you got to sit him and give Knox a try, because I think you're just compounding the situation.
You know what worries me, Sim, is that
he was asked about.
There's got to be something in practice where Knox is not outplaying Obi. As crazy as that sounds,
well, it doesn't have to be that, Nate.
But I'm just saying. It's got to be something he's doing in practice.
Yeah. Go ahead, Steph.
Tibbs was asked that question in the press conference about sitting Obi and basically why he's playing. And he's saying that he looks good in practice. That's why he's continuing to get time. Exactly. I think Tibbs has been pretty consistent. He values practice. If you're doing well in practice, he's going to give you that opportunity. Right. And he said that in practice, he plays very well. So based on practice, he's earning that time. We're basing it on the game. And it does. If we basing it on the game, he don't look like he deserves any time at this point.
Doesn't deserve Tibbs, practice. When you're looking at the game,
Tibbs is he's just focusing on practice. And I think somebody mentioned this the last game, and then when Tibbs got on for the press conference, he basically acknowledged it. He's not looking at stats. He's looking at your approach to the game. And if your approach to the game is good, it might be. You're going to get your time. And if your approach to the game is not good, or you're not doing it in practice, you're not going to play. Because people were like, why you don't leave? I forgot who it is, for the entire game. And he was like, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, he doesn't care that it's garbage time. You're coming out.
Right.
So I'm not sure. In my opinion, I think Obi should not play anymore for the rest of the season, in my opinion, and just take the off season to kind of level up.
Maybe not to the rest of the season. That was hard, Steph. Just sit him for 5, maybe 10 games.
He hasn't really, in my opinion, he hasn't really earned that time. I mean, look at Randall. Randall is barely breathing out there sometimes, give Knox an opportunity, give Taj Gibson an opportunity. I don't know.
But see, then my question is, with the whole thing with practice, is Tibbs, and I'm sure he is, but at some point, Tibbs is going to ask himself at least, what is it that doesn't translate if he's performing well in practice?
Right.
Why is it not translating to the floor? Right? Because that's always the mantra. If what you do in practice, you're going to end up doing on the floor. Why are we not seeing it translate to the floor? Is it just effort? Is it defensive rotations? Defensive basketball IQ? Why is it not translating to the court, the game time court? We seen Julius Randle last night. I was watching from the Washington Wizards broadcast. And when Julius Randle came in the fourth quarter for Obi, he was having some words for him. I don't know exactly what he was saying, but it looked like, it was a serious conversation. Like, you got to put the effort out or something like that. It seemed like it was around that, that type of a conversation where he was like, you got to put the effort out or you're going to get snatched out the game. I'm trying to get a couple minutes on the bench too. You know what I mean? And it looked like he was, kind of bringing that message to him. And then when Randall goes back out, Obi doesn't get back in the game, which is a good thing to me. Like you were saying, it kind of tells him it's not about the score. It's about what you're doing, the process, what you're doing while you're on the floor. And Randall was talking to him again, explaining whatever it is that maybe Tom Thibodeau said, hey, I need you to help get this across to him. And so I'm interested to see how much more we see Randall talking to Obi on the bench, maybe when he subs in for him. If Tom Thibodeau has said, Randall, I need you to get in this kid's head, and help us to help him. Maybe Tom Thibodeau has commissioned that, from Randall, because Tom Thibodeau seems like the kind of guy, after a while, he's going to be like, I can't talk to this guy no more because I'm going to kill him. So I better get somebody else to do it.
You need somebody to relate to him as a player. Yeah. I mean, because Tibbs seems like more of a yeller type kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I think he's lost confidence. He looked better just a few weeks ago. He's looking worse as time goes on. So I think it's a confidence issue too.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I think also too, we have to remember that, when Derrick Rose was in the second lineup, Obi was gelling. They had some good synergy together. And then Derrick Rose caught COVID and he's been out. And so, I mean, once Derrick Rose gets back, if Peyton stays in the starting lineup, I think you'll see Derrick Rose work with Obi again, try to build that synergy, try to build his confidence up, because Obi needs a point guard. Let's just be real. He cannot do this himself. I mean, I think when we watched him at Dayton, I mean, all the guy did was dunk. I mean, he really didn't do really anything to like make me think that the guy had an offensive game other than maybe shooting or dunking, and he's not even shooting well. So I think when Derrick Rose comes back, if he comes back to the bench, we should see an uptick in Obi's production, because it seems like Obi gets excited when he plays with a point guard that actually knows what the hell they're doing.
I mean, I don't know if that ended up being circumstance, that Obi received a couple of passes, or if it's, I guess we didn't see enough to see if it's something that's going to be a staple of that second unit. I mean, we're basically, kind of basing that off of, 2 or 3 passes, 2 or 3 times that, out of all of those games that Derrick Rose found Obi, which we've seen some other players find Obi too. So I don't know. Go ahead, Andy.
But Rose is a good penetrator. Yeah.
Yeah, my theory on this Obi playing time is that like we hit it up already on a couple of shows back, that it's basically Leon Rose making sure that Obi is getting minutes as the first round pick, the highest draft pick that he made, so it doesn't look bad. but also on this, point, I think it's gonna be better for Obi if he gets pulled out and sits out at least a couple of games. I don't know, just to have those practices. So fans starting to notice that he basically doesn't produce for us. And it's not only Obi fans, Obi haters. It's both sides of the party. So I think it's going to be better for him if Tibbs sits him. It doesn't have to be like the whole season, like Steph said. That was harsh, Steph. I'm surprised you said that. But at least those 5 games. Wait till D Rose is back in shape, in line, and then try to go back with the old second squad rotation, and then try to implement it. Meanwhile, just give those couple of minutes to Kevin Knox, spread it out differently, between the rest of the squad, even put up Taj Gibson, because basically at this point, it's really hurting Obi, seeing the lack of his production by every fan, every GM, every other team, scouts, whatever, whoever's watching the game. It really is a bad move for Obi's career, basically. So I know that Obi's not going to go to Tibbs and ask him to be seated, right? But I think, like Sim said, they're looking to get to Obi in different channels, through Taj Gibson, probably in practices, through Julius Randle. I'm guessing that Kenny Payne was one of those coaches that was working, because he was working with the big man. So I'm guessing he was also working with them. As I would do it, I would sit him and come back to him in a couple of games when again the opportunity comes.
Right. I wish he could play in the G League. I really think that would be beneficial for him.
Oh, that's not the case at this point.
Yeah.
G League.
Yeah, G League is done. So,
well, they should have done it at the beginning.
That's going to be. Well, I think in the beginning they thought that he was going to be able to, compete and give more production. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me get to a phone call actually, and then we'll be heading off. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Well, how you guys doing? This is actually my first time calling and watch you guys for a while now. I wanted to touch on a couple things I've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually intertwined because they have to do with both Obi, Eric Bledsoe, and Lonzo.
Okay.
I like Obi, man. I'm a proud Brooklyner, and all respect to his father and him, but I personally don't think that he's good enough to be on this team for the next 2 to 3 year plan that we have.
Mm.
I know that we're rebuilding, but we also, like you guys mentioned, Randall right now is ascending as a player. So there really isn't a spot for Obi on here unless he was going to be that power forward that shoots threes in defense coming off the bench. So I don't really see a spot for him on this team. I say we do take that trade for Eric Bledsoe. Get that first round pick. Hopefully it's next year's. We don't really know. Maybe the year after that. And we get rid of Eric Bledsoe with Obi next year. I don't really see Obi having any value. I just look at him and he just looks lost out there. I mean, he doesn't have the strength to post up. When he drives to the basket, he's always pushed off. His threes are not falling, which is something that everybody was saying. They were like, well, he's a shooter really than he is anything else. They said he's a shooter. He's not shooting well. Maybe he gets better. Who knows? But Randall is the power forward of this team. So I say we do that, and then we sign Lonzo. I mean, I give Lonzo a 3-year deal. I wouldn't give him more than that because you never know. Somebody might be ascending, and I like him right now, but you don't want to be stuck for 4 to 5 years. If he's not good in his first year, then maybe his second year somebody will trade for you. You always want to be protected in those contracts, especially with guys like that. I think that's why they did it with Randall, but it's paid off for Randall. Now you're looking to actually extend Randall. And then I would accumulate all these draft picks because you could always move up and get a player in that draft that you really like. and hopefully they don't mess up, or you can just stay there. You could probably get lucky, get a guy like Quickly. Hopefully you don't get like a guy like Trier. I'm afraid of actually Quickly. I'm like, damn, I hope Quickly is not just shooting well this year and the next year. His flaws aren't just so much, and I think that's why Alonzo Trier ended up not being on the team. I mean, he couldn't really get past the defender. They were stealing balls off of Trier's, but he can shoot. And when he did dribble, he dribbled pretty well, but it wasn't consistent, and his defense wasn't as good. So I just think that we should be accumulating picks, and we should be building about Randall and RJ. I don't think anybody else is really, other than Mitchell, is really anybody I consider going forward if you're trying to build a contending team. I mean, even Quickly's on the table for me in that sense. I think if you're trying to build around RJ, Randall, and Mitch, everybody else, they can go. You have the assets to build a good team with veterans, with young players as your core. And some guys like Norman Powell, I really like Norman Powell. We can get him in this trade. I trade for him right now. I think he's an ascendant player too. He can probably be a 20-point per game scorer for you, play pretty good defense. He can fit well in defensive schemes. You're not gonna lose because of him. And you build yourself a team. I mean, I think the Knicks right now have a player in Randall and RJ. And I think RJ's ceiling is very high. I mean, right now he's only 20 years old, and he's giving it to wings. I mean, he's driving in there like a grown man. His three-pointer is getting better. I mean, I don't think that – I think people talk about it, but I don't think people talking about it as much as they should. I mean, last year we literally, as Knicks fans, I actually liked RJ. I didn't care about the threes, but the whole consensus was like, this guy can't shoot. And he's proving to you that he can. So that just was like, damn, what can RJ be in like 2 or 3 years? You just don't know. I think his ceiling is very high, always have. One thing I always liked about RJ is the way he plays up there. He plays like a grown man. Even last year, you knew that he belonged on the court. His shot wasn't falling, but you weren't bullying him. And I think that's the difference between guys like Knox, Frank, and RJ. You know what I mean? And guys like Mitch. Those guys are not getting bullied. Those are the type of players you want. So, I appreciate you guys taking my call.
All right.
And
appreciate your call, man. Look forward to hearing from you again. Good points. Yeah. I don't know. So I guess we're gonna find out, what happens with Obi.
Yeah.
And if Tom Thibodeau decides, to put him on the bench. I don't know. Any last things you want to get, say before we get up out of here?
I got to talk.
We need that game tomorrow.
There's no doubt about that.
We need that game tomorrow.
Yeah, we need that game tomorrow. We definitely do, man.
Yeah.
Because then the schedule gets significantly tougher after tomorrow. So we need that one. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, so I didn't get to get on the post game after the what game was the controversy? Well, no. What was the last controversy call? Or the one that he didn't get the timeout?
Philly game, right?
Philly. There you go. Okay. So listen, I'm all for players, being emotional. I'm all for coaches, being emotional. But I think the Knicks have to be careful because the NBA is taking notice that the Knicks are complaining a lot. And sometimes it's just, sometimes it's not just. Randall got fined for talking basically about the refs, which usually happens when a player says something. Listen, I think the Knicks just got to be careful because we're entering a big part of the season where we're going to be playing tougher teams, tougher games, and you really don't want the refs against you. And I feel that because of the controversies, because of the outburst by Randall, then the comments after that last game, I feel like the Knicks just need to chill out. And I think that's why this Wizards game was they beat the crap out of them because I think they were upset and frustrated with not getting those calls. And so they took it out on the Wizards. So I just think the Knicks have to be careful because the NBA is now watching them, to see if they're going to outburst again and all that. And, I just feel like that's just kind of the way refs look at games nowadays. If somebody's a malcontent, somebody's getting a lot of technicals, they're more likely going to get a technical. if they even just barely chirp at the ref. So I think the Knicks got to chill out, especially Randall. I think Randall's getting too emotional.
Yeah. I do think that Randall has to, control his emotions a little bit.
Yeah, he's a leader. He's got to lead.
Yeah, I can agree there. Anything else? Anything else, Steph?
No, not really. I'm hoping the Knicks, make some upgrade to this. Oh, yeah, this is one thing I want to say, and I said it before. I think we overestimating chemistry with this particular team, not in general, with this particular team, like we on an 8 or 10 game winning streak. We're 500, middling around 500. You got an opportunity to upgrade the team with somebody that's going to be here long term. I don't think you worry too much about chemistry. We'll have the opportunity to create new chemistry.
Okay. Andy, any last thing?
Yeah, I'm going to ask the question, but let's keep it really, really short. Maybe some other show we can pick it up. About the, Julius Randle route or the young guys. If you guys would have to pick a route, like trading all the young guys and only keeping the players, like getting vets for them to build around Julius Randle for this and the next season, for example, or trade Julius to add more youth and win, like, let's call it win in a couple of years. Which route would you guys take?
You know where I'm at.
I'm gonna win now.
I'm win now.
I want to win. You know what I'm saying? I want to win now. I'm the type of person that if you said I'll give you $1 million today or $2 million next Wednesday, I'm gonna take the $1 million today, because who knows what happens between now and next Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I mean, Julius is an all-star player. You got to surround him with talent, whether it's young or old. He's got a window of maybe 4 years. I mean, if we extend him, probably 4 to 5 years of really solid playing. So, I mean, yeah, you got to win now. I agree.
Well, all right. Well, we will see. I appreciate you all, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you catch me tomorrow around 2:00. Subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, so that you can be notified when I am live, as we'll have a trade deadline special tomorrow, and then we'll do a game preview and talk about tomorrow night's game. We'll see. Maybe the Knicks do make a move and there's a different team tomorrow night, or a slightly different team, or we'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you all. Be peaceful and spread love, ladies and gentlemen.